right, so we are back.
We are back.
We've been going different directions. Been hard to get our schedules together. We love doing this, but had a little hiatus, not on purpose, just time wasn't allowing. So we're back. We're going to try to coordinate this thing and keep it regular. Like I said, I know there's some people that like to listen to it, but we love doing it.
Love it.
It's if nobody enjoyed listening to it, we'd probably still enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
it is a lot of fun.
It's nice to sit down and talk.
Hear some good stories and cut it up about what we do every day. I mean, we live this. So
yeah, life's been crazy since Loretta's. Like most of the time,
it has.
You
been
try to
since
slow
Loretta's.
down after Loretta's for a minute, and it has not stopped.
No, the facility's been crazy.
Yep,
rodeos have been crazy.
Yeah,
Supercross.
We've started putting on races out here this year. Lots of events planned and lots of things going on, and
lots of rain.
But it has not stopped us. Hasn't stopped us, so it's been cool.
And we've got a lot of these podcasts lined up. Been talking to a lot of people and some really good stories that we want to get out there, and we're gonna make it happen.
Yep. Yeah, we had a cool guest this afternoon.
A great guest this afternoon, and he's in the spotlight right now, which is
and a lot of people know his name now that never would have known him before, right? Because they're new to the sport,
right? In
the last 5-10 years, and
this is actually his second comeback. So he made a comeback in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
And then this one in 2020, I guess this would be considered 24. So what is that?
12 years.
12 years later. But then he had a full career as a factory rider, as a Supercross winner.
Yeah, but you could have started riding 10 years ago, and your kid be national. He could be already. Y'all could be big on the amateur side of it, and you'd have no idea
who he is.
Yeah,
but if you've been watching Supercross, you definitely know who Billy Laninovich is.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just go ahead and get him on the phone.
Yeah.
Zach.
Billy, what's up?
Oh, just getting stuff cleaned up from the weekend.
Yeah, you're here with it's me, Taylor Painter, and our IT guy Brian Hedge.
What's up, Tyler? And who's it? Brian?
Brian and Taylor.
Brian and Taylor.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Taylor's probably like when you turned pro, he probably would have been on 65s or 85s.
Yeah. What year did you turn pro?
You saying I'm old or something?
No. I'm older than you, so if I call you old, I'm really calling me old. But so he's raced forever. Brian Hedge is a photographer, video guy who's been in the sport for a long time, and the Amateur Hour Moto Podcast, where we like to talk about people's amateur careers and kind of walk them through it. The idea behind the podcast is really to give people insight into how pros like yourself got to where they were. To the average person who doesn't know you, that is not going to just run into you and say, "Hey, what's your story? Like, how did you know?"
Well, and also hear the mistakes, right? And some things that maybe you would have done a little different, or situations that you could have avoided if you had some information from people that had been there. I know me growing up racing amateur, we learned everything the hard way, and it'd have been nice to have some information. So we feel like we're in a good position now to be able to talk to people that can really pass down some good knowledge, and I think it'd be good for our sport to keep that mindset going.
So,
absolutely.
So having the 2000 125B mod champion on the phone from Loretta Lynn's. Really, I guess I want to go back to, or let's just start with, I've always looked up to you a lot because one conversation that me and you had a while back, and I'm not going to tell the story because it's your story to tell. But it was one of this was your 2012 return to racing. I think we were at San Diego. I don't remember, but anyways, we were waiting to go through the tunnel. We were just having a brief conversation, and it was a conversation that was an eye opener for me. Is like the adults have this strong of faith and can talk about it. And, it was super impressive to me. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I've always, like, it's hard to say I'm older than you, but I've always kind of looked up to you because of how strong you are in your faith. And I think you kind of live your entire life that way, right?
Yeah. So my dad was super strict with me when I was an amateur. He wouldn't let me be out past 10 o'clock. So when I moved out, I turned pro in 2019. No, not 19. I'm sorry. 2002. When I turned 19, I went and bought a house in Lake Elsinore, and I rebelled. I went partying and drinking and stuff. So there was a point in my life where I was backsliding and where sin really had hold of me. So I wasn't like this my whole life. There was probably a good 7 or 8 years where I was backsliding.
Right.
But my faith is very important. It's the most important thing in my life. God's got to be first in everything, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, it was just a little period of my life where you're young, making money. There's a lot of distractions when you got somewhat kind of a fame, and everybody wants to be your friend, and you just get surrounded with the wrong group of guys, right?
Right.
And that's what kind of happened with me. So,
well, and again, I want to I want to make it clear that one of the reasons why I feel like I'm kind of like I've always been kind of like when I'm around, we're in the same spot. I want to converse with you, and the reason that I want to converse with you is because I mean, it doesn't matter what you did we all screwed up at some point, but you, as an adult, there's not a lot of people who are comfortable in their faith and talking about that to just anybody. But you, like when I've been around, you always have been, and that makes me comfortable. So I've always I really enjoyed that about you. So, and so that's one of the reasons why it makes me pretty happy to be able to do this podcast and get it out there. Cause maybe there was a rough patch in there somewhere, but for the last, 15 years, however long it's been a pretty like you're a pretty good role model. And it's crazy. So, I mean, to get into the moto thing at 40 years old, which we were just talking about before we started, there's a lot of people who are in the moto world who may have started racing 10 years ago, and they don't like this is a 40-year-old dude that I've never heard of racing Supercross.
Yeah.
They don't know your background, right? So, but it's sick. Like, I don't think there's one person in the stands or one person at home that's not stoked on the fact that Billy Laninovich just made the main at 40 years old. Back-to-back races. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's stoked on. I know I was at where was the first one you made? A2?
A2.
Yeah,
yep.
I was at Triple A2. Grand. Yeah, so I was at A2, and when you qualified and you came off, and, industry section where we were all sitting, and it was like standing ovation when you came by. It was so sick. I mean, people were stoked.
It's pretty awesome, man. I've been getting a lot of love from fans and people that haven't been to races in 10 years saying, I'm coming to Supercross because you're racing, and it's been super, super cool.
And it's so awesome because you're making it. I know there's been some older guys who've tried, the comeback thing, and they don't, like, they're there, but they're not, making them. And you're in the races. And not only are you in the races, you're in the races in the 250 class, which is that's a whole nother level. Like, I almost think you might be better off in the 450 class. It's kind of
no way.
Well, it's kind of
450 class is stacked.
Hey, but dude, it's kind of risky in that 250 class.
It is. Yeah, kids they're not scared. There's probably a little bit more wisdom in that 450 class, and those guys don't take as much chances.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. They all appreciate, and those guys know you, right? These young kids, they're like, there's a dude with long hair out in front of me that's 40 years old. He ain't beating me.
Who's this gray-haired dude in front of me? Yeah. No, I got A2 making that one. I got pretty lucky, man. I got a horrible start in the LTQ during the day, and I snuck to the inside, and I think I came out right around mid-pack, and then it was just carnage. No lie, it was like God parting the Red Sea for me. I went in between this kid on a Honda that went down. I had about a foot, maybe a foot and a half, and somehow I made it around him, and I'm just going around the outside of a corner, and there's more carnage just everywhere. It was out of control.
The kid on the Honda was Lance Kobush. That was my guy.
Was it really?
Oh, yeah.
No.
So they, they watered. He said that they told you all on the start gate they watered the piss out of it.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible.
Well, so a kid on a Kawasaki went from right all the way to left on the face of a jump. He slid, jumped all the way across the track. Lance was already in the air, and he landed on the dude, knocked him out. But then,
he got knocked out.
Yeah, he got knocked out. But then right around the corner, everybody else was piled up. So it was. Those first two turns were gnarly.
I don't know how I got out of it, missed the carnage.
Yeah.
So yeah, God parted the sea for me in that one. I got super lucky to make it into the A2 one, but this weekend was better.
Hey, listen, I was mad. I don't know if you were, but I was mad about the red flag at Arizona because you were up there. And then I was like, oh.
I know.
They've all got to go do it again, but Billy's 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I was in fifth, and I knew I was faster than the guy in front of me. And as soon as that red flag came out, I'm like, oh, no, I got to do this again. But it actually turned out better. I got a better start. I think I came out second or third. And, yeah, that one I made it in myself. I had to beat those guys.
That's awesome. So, and I don't know if you guys know this, but your wife doesn't know the moto world, right?
No, she knows nothing. She literally, before A1, she maybe watched me ride a handful of times. Maybe.
So what does she think about doing? Because, dude, that's pretty gnarly. Like, hey, we're just gonna go. We're married now. Let's go race Supercross. What?
Yeah, before A1, she goes, "This is a big deal. This is like you going to play in the NFL." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "It's a big deal." And I said, "Yeah, I guess so." And she doesn't know anything about it at all. I mean, I've taken her maybe 5 Supercrosses since we've been together for 8 years. So she's a warrior. She really worries. But she's a trooper, man. She's behind me 100%. And when I don't do good, she's sad. When I do good, she's happy.
So she's not to the point yet to where she's Ellie Reed, like chewing on you if you're not hitting the quads or anything.
No. The only time she said something was the first time I rode Supercross at the beginning of October. I was at the Yamaha track, and I wasn't jumping the triple. I didn't jump a triple for 3 weeks. I was scared to death. And I wasn't jumping the rhythms. I was just doubling. And she's like, "Don't the guys go faster than that? Aren't you going really slow? Don't they jump bigger?" And I'm like, "Take it easy, babe. I'm just cruising into it. Like, I'm taking my time." But other than that, no, she doesn't. She's not an Ellie Reed or any of these moto wives that get on their case. Maybe down the road, if I start doing good and then I start riding bad in some races, she might get on me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, hey, and Ellie's awesome. She's like a special breed, but that's good stuff. So
she's been with Chad for how long?
Oh, since they were babies when they moved over here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a whole different story. Now, my wife gets on me for training and stuff. Like after I got landed on, and she's like pushing me, "Go to the gym, go do something." And I couldn't. I'm like, "Babe, take it easy." I said, "I can't even move right now." Hey, so she pushes me in that way.
That was also Lance Kobush. I just had to throw that. That was also Lance Kobush. He was one of them. He was the second one.
He's not the one that landed on me?
No, he was the second one. The one that he flew all the way. His bike stopped into y'all's, but he flew all the way over you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, you're good. Yeah, that was a brutal one. So I forget where I was going with that.
Well, so I guess let's kind of take this thing backwards. So we'll just go from modern day back. What prompted this at 40 years old? what prompted you to say, hey, I'm going to go race Supercross? Like a lot of 40-year-olds want to go race like a vet series or
a go-kart.
Yeah. What
I don't, dude, honestly, I have no idea how I'm here right now. Like, I was an electrician, had a full-time job. If you would have told me 6 months ago I'd be racing Supercross, I'd be like, yeah, right, you're crazy. I always felt like after 2012 that God had told me that I would come back to racing at some point. And it was a year ago. I'm working and I'm sitting there and I'm like, there is no way I'm coming back to racing. I'm 40 years old. I'm like, maybe I was listening to something else or whatnot. Maybe it was just my own mind telling me that. But I had a really good buddy of mine, Ryan Zieber. I didn't know him at the time, but he had called me and called me a few times trying to get me to quit my job and train his son. His son used to train with Casey Johnson. And finally, he called me one day and he's just like, hey, please quit your job. We need you bad. And I'm like, okay. He offered me really good money. And so I went to my foreman and I put in my HR guy and I put in my 2 weeks. And I'm like, if it doesn't work out, I can always come back. There's always electrical work. And so, yeah, I did that. I trained his son for about maybe 4 months. And then I had another good buddy of mine, Steve Marks. He's like, hey, there's a dual sport race at Verona next weekend. I said, well, that sounds fun, but I don't have a dual sport. He goes, I got one for you. So I went out there and, dude, I had so much fun. I was probably 20 seconds out in the lead, and I had the worst arm pump. I was so locked up. I'm trying to make myself breathe and relax. I'm like, dude, just chill out. But dude, I had so much fun at that race. And my buddy Josiah, Silent J, he's like, dude, your style is still sick. You can still race Supercross. And so that's what started it all. I just got my mind going. I called a couple people. I called John at MMR, John Turner, who's my mechanic now. I knew he had a lot of connections, and I called my buddy Damian Campos from Toyota of Escondido. And I said, hey, guys, I think I want to race next year. And I knew that they knew a lot of people, and I wanted to see if it would bite. And so then I did a podcast with David Pingree, and I threw it out there at the end of the show, and it totally caught Ping off guard. He's like, it was kind of awkward. I just told him, hey, I want to race Supercross next year. And so I knew that would spread out. And Pastor Larry from Team Faith, who I've known for probably 12 years, he used to come out and do Bible studies once a month, come to my house and stay the night there. And then we would go to the tracks and do Bible studies. He called and he's like, hey, are you serious about racing? And I said, I think so. I said, mentally, I feel like I can do it. But I'm not sure if I can. I just need a bike. And so Bobby J's Yamaha sent me a dirt bike, a YZ450, and just started riding. I rode outdoors for a month. I started September 4th after I got back from Mammoth, and just started riding, started mountain biking, gym. And then October 1st, I think it was my first day on a Supercross track in 12 years. So that's how it all got started, man. And honestly, God's given me a gift to ride a dirt bike, and we're here to tell people about Jesus. It's something that I wish I would have done more when I was younger, but I was a little distracted. But yeah, man, God's given me a gift, and it blows me away every morning I wake up that I can still use it at my age.
You probably can use it better now than because now you're not just. And it's hard to say this, but just another dude who's good on a dirt bike. Now you're a 40-year-old who's good on a dirt bike, which draws more attention, right? I mean, it does.
Yeah, I think I have more fans now than I did when I was younger.
Yeah, with the egos out of the way, you're on a different mission. That probably makes the racing way more fun for you.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Yeah, I've been so calm. I was super nervous this week, and I don't know what my deal was. A lot of it has to do with preparation. I haven't been able to ride during the week. I think Saturday night was my 9th time riding since A1. My body's just been too banged up, and so I haven't been able to ride my mountain bike since before A1, and so the preparation is not there. When I went into A1, I came in prepared, and then obviously we had a mud race, and in San Diego I felt great. Then it rained and got landed on, so it's just a preparation for me, and I just didn't know where I stood. Like I tried to ride the week before, or 2 weeks before Arizona with Roxon. Went up to St. George to visit family. I went to the track on a Wednesday and I did 5 laps, and I was hurting so bad I couldn't ride. So then I left early for Arizona. I left on Sunday, I believe, Saturday or Sunday. Got there on Monday or Tuesday and got to ride for maybe 30 minutes before we got super gnarly winds and the rain came. But my body felt great. I had no more pain in my body, but I was feeling it. Even just that 30 minutes of riding, I was so sore on Wednesday and Thursday just because I lost all my fitness. So it's just a preparation is why I was nervous. But the races before that, man, obviously I don't have the pressure to go out there and win and all that stuff, but it's still like, I've never really felt that pressure. I felt more pressure on getting injured my whole career. Even when I was first started at 18, 19, I hated starts. I hated going into the first turn. I was always a good starter, and I always wanted to go to that turn and out front. I did not want to go in the middle of the pack. I was scared of the first lap, getting landed on a triple or something like that, which never happened my whole career until I turned 40. And it finally happened. But, yeah, so it's just a preparation. I haven't been able to ride. I just didn't know where I stood. But mentally, going down the line, down through the tunnel, man, I'm super calm because I know God has me here, especially after getting landed on. I know it sounds crazy, but I should have a broken femur or a broken hip or something. Like, that guy hit me really, really hard.
Hey, let me tell you, and if you want them, I can send them to you. I've got 3 different angles of that crash. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't be walking, much less riding a dirt bike. That was gnarly.
Yeah. And if anything, man, my faith is stronger. I know God was protecting me.
That's awesome.
And,
that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
let's get to some amateurs.
Yeah. So let's start. We've got the modern day. Let's start from the beginning and go through, because I want to get through your 2012 comeback, but we can work through that. Okay. So tell us, I guess, start at the basement and tell us, how'd you get started? Like, where did riding dirt bikes come from?
So my dad loved riding dirt bikes. My grandma, his mom, hated it with a passion. She wanted nothing to do with dirt bikes. So my dad always wanted to be a professional, and so when he turned 18 or 19, he moved out of the house, went and bought a motorcycle. And then it was a couple years later when he ended up having me. And so he got me on a YZ Zinger 3-wheeler at 2.5 years old. And that's when I started riding. I think I was 7 years old when I got on a 2-wheeler. So it was 1990. I started racing at Verona Oaks. So yeah, that's how I started, on a YZ Zinger. And then when I turned 7, my dad got me a CR60.
I've seen some of those, but there's not a lot of them out there.
Dude, I wish I could get my hands on one. You never see them.
They're cool. Every once in a while I'll see one on Marketplace. Next time I'll send it to you.
Yep.
So
yeah, I would love to get one of those and restore it.
So Verona, is that more San Diego side?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just east of San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that I grew up in Ramona. Well, I grew up in Poway, lived there for a few years when I was born, and then pretty much grew up my whole life in Ramona, which is 10, 15 minutes from Verona Oaks.
Okay. And so,
so Verona's my hometown.
So you did I'm assuming a lot of your amateur racing there, especially when you were younger, probably a lot of local races there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We raced there all the time. It wasn't until I was probably maybe 12 years old, 11 or 12 is before my dad even took me to Paris and Glen Helen and all that stuff. I don't know if you know who Tyler King is.
Who?
But Tyler King was a good rider.
Say his name again.
Tyler King.
Tyler King. I don't know that name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he tried to race a few Supercrosses, I think. But anyways, his dad, he was a really smart guy and helped us out a lot. He just told my dad, he's like, man, Billy's got talent. You got to start taking him other places. And my dad's like, I don't got the money to take him anywhere. But then I was about by 11 or 12 when my dad started taking me to Star West, Paris, Glen Helen, places like that. But other than that, it was all Verona from 7 years old until about 11 or 12.
So leaving Verona and starting to go to those other tracks, how were the results?
I don't remember. I think they were decent. They weren't bad. I mean, I didn't go. My first amateur national was in '96, so I had to have been 12 or 13 years old, and I went. I think I finished 7th in '85, 12 to 13.
Where was that?
And that was my very first national at the World Minis in Vegas.
World Minis in Vegas. Oh yeah. Was it at the Speedway then?
Yep.
So
in the big old hole.
Yeah, dusty and wind blowing 70 miles an hour.
Oh.
Wear goggles all day.
Horrible. Yep. Horrible. Yeah. So my very first national, I went, was able to get a 7th, and Justin Buckaloo at the time was my idol. I would not leave that guy's box fan. I was always hanging out with him. I remember him having his little arm pump deal on his arms because he always battled arm pump. And I got the whole shot, one of my motos, and there's this big old sand berm, and Justin's behind me, and I hit this rock, this massive rock that was under the sand, and just tucked the front end over the bars, and Justin's right behind me. Boom, he crashes. I felt so bad. I felt so bad. But yeah, that was 96 was my first amateur national.
And did I see you were hanging out with Buckaloo this last week?
Yeah, so I went to Texas early, or not Texas, Arizona early because we got a bunch of rain out here. And I went out to Motoland, and he does some training out there and got to run into him. Yeah.
That's awesome. So
when it started raining, he made a turn track for his coaching. He had a couple turn tracks. He's like, hey, come over and ride with me. So I got to spin some laps and ride on his track with him.
And what's crazy about that, just that story in itself, is there's, kind of like you popping back on the scene, and there's, if people in the last 10, 12 years didn't, they just started racing, they wouldn't have known you until you popped up on their TV. And Justin Buckaloo's another one of those. Like, people nowadays, like I bet there's kids that train with Justin Buckaloo that have no idea who Justin Buckaloo actually is. Like, yeah, I mean, like if you rode a Yamaha back in the day, you rode it because of Justin Buckaloo.
Yep, that kid was so fast as an amateur, even when he was pro. But as an amateur, he was dominant on 80s. Yeah.
It was kind of nostalgic to see that picture of you guys hanging out together this last week. It was like, wow.
Yeah, he's such a good guy, man. I love that dude so much. He's another Christian and believer, and just a sweet, sweet dude. Very nice guy.
That's awesome. It's cool that y'all got to link up. So that World Minis in the top 10, your first national and you top 10 World Mini, that's pretty gnarly. So after you did that, did your dad say, hey, we got to go this route? Like, you're good enough to be in the top 10 at these. This is what we got to do. Yeah.
My dad begged and begged and begged for money to help us get to the races. And so I think, was it 97? We started going, we went to World Minis. I went to Loretta's for the first time. I think I finished 4th at Loretta's. I think I got 2 fourths, 97 and 98. I got 3rd? Really?
Hold on, we've got it. He's got the vault pulled up.
It says in the vault your first year was in 1998, and it was an 85 14 to 15 mod.
Yep.
And you got 31st overall, but you went 3 DNF.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It may not be correct, though.
No, that's probably right. I didn't know I got a third in the moto, though. What's the 98?
Your other class, you got third overall.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, so you got 31st in the one class that he was just talking about. That was mod. And in the stock class, you got third overall.
Oh, nice. So, yeah, that was second year, or first year going to Loretta's. Yeah.
So
that was a tough one.
So maybe you crashed in that one and then just didn't race the other because you were out of it.
I don't remember. Yeah, I have no idea. That or it was a mud race and my bike blew up. So we went there in a 1980 Suburban that ran on propane.
Oh,
and I slept. Yeah, I slept in the back seat. And dude, it was so hot. It was brutal. Like we literally had no money going to these races. My dad made maybe $30,000.
So hold on. So y'all stayed in the Suburban like the whole week at Loretta's?
The whole week. I slept in the very back seat. My brother slept in the seat in front of me. And then I don't remember what my dad did. I don't know if he was in a tent or in the front.
That's gnarly.
And pulled
While
the third.
We are parked by motorhomes that are like $500,000 and their ACs and kids got 4 or 5 bikes lined up. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that's new respect level right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Pull a third, sleeping in a Suburban on propane.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was crazy. I think we even had a flatbed trailer. I don't think we took an enclosed trailer there. I think we were on a flatbed trailer.
Hey, if you could get us a picture of that setup, that would be great for the podcast.
I'll try.
I'd love to put that up. So
yeah.
So that was, that year wasn't bad. The modified class 31st, but then third in the other. That's a big deal. First year ever. And
what was the motor scores?
Let's see.
In stock, you went 4.25 for third overall.
Ooh, second in a moto.
Oh yeah, Ryan Marias, Paul Vareca. Your Vareca got second.
Yep.
Hey, Jonathan Shemp got fourth. Jonathan Shemp used to jump the biggest. I remember there was a triple at World Minis that he jumped on 85 that made the cover of some magazine. It was so gnarly. I wonder whatever happened to him.
That kid was so good on 80s.
Oh yeah. There's some dudes in here. Colt Humphrey, Paul Parabinos.
Yep. Colt Humphrey.
Yeah.
Colt Humphreys. I think he was from Texas, right?
Oklahoma.
Maybe Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
yeah, they were tough as amateurs. A lot of these kids, man, it's crazy. These top amateur guys back then, who never made it. They were so fast on 80s and 60s and even in their B class and A class, but never made Johnny Marley. Johnny Marley did pretty good. Chase Reed.
Yep, Chase Reed is exactly who I was thinking about.
I was just looking at results from your 99 year, and Chase Reed got third. You got fourth in the 125 mod. And I was thinking that
I raced against him?
Yeah.
Oh, because I think he was a little bit older than me. I thought I was on 80s and he was on big bikes.
On 99, Ryan Marias won, Bobby Bond second, Chase Reed, and then you.
Wow. Yeah.
There's some names in here too. This is Justin Brayton 12th. Dan Truman.
Truman's in there?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, Truman got 15th. Ryan Mills, Cole Siebler. There's some names in here.
Cole Siebler was fast. It's wild.
So I was probably riding a bike that was 2 years old because my dad never had the money to buy new bikes. So I always had old bikes. And Yamaha approached us after that race. Or no, maybe it was before that. Because 98, I did the U.S. Open No, that would have been in October.
I don't remember when.
Yeah, U.S. Open was after Loretta's.
Yeah.
U.S. Open was after Loretta's? Okay.
Yeah, because
so Yamaha approached us.
Yeah, they would pick the kids for U.S. Open from Loretta's, from the 12 to 14
Yeah,
class.
so Yamaha approached us to race, and they're like, why are you riding this bike? And so Yamaha ended up giving me a brand new 80 for the U.S. Open. So, yeah, I had no support going to Loretta's that year. I had nothing.
Do you remember how you did at the U.S. Open that year?
Yeah, I won the first night, and then, which is pretty cool because the next night they had this massive ball thing, and I think McGrath won the first night, and then I won the 80 class. So we got to drop down in this ball, and that thing was like, I don't even know, as tall as the MGM Grand is, and drop down in front of all the fans, which is pretty rad. But then the second night, what did I do? I think I was in third, and I thought I had to pass, and I crashed on the finish line trying to pass for second. I jumped off the track. I was jumping off into the hay bales, which they were hay bales back then, not tough blocks. And I jumped off the bike and ended up breaking my leg.
Oh.
And I think I still got the overall. I think I went 1-3 for the overall.
This was actually at the finish line.
This was checkered flag.
Oh.
I tried going inside, and I drifted too far to the right. Yeah, and I was going off the track. Like, literally, I was going to land in between the finish line and the next section. Well, I would have landed on the hay bales first and then would have crashed. But, Zach, are you FaceTiming me?
No, if I am, I don't mean to.
All right.
Was it
But
FaceTime?
yeah, on the checkered flag, I crashed and broke my leg.
So
that's gnarly. That's crazy.
Did the support step up a lot after that? After the 98?
Oh yeah, Yamaha. I went up to big bikes, 125s and 250s, and Yamaha, I think, gave us 6 bikes.
That helps.
I think they gave us. Oh yeah,
it helps when you're riding a 2-year-old motorcycle and you probably only had one.
Yeah, and then I think it was. I can't remember if I was on 80s at Loretta's or. It had to have been 80. It had to have been that first year. First year, FMF came up to us and like, "Why do you have a stock silencer and pipe on here?" My dad's like, "I can't afford it." So then FMF really helped us, giving us pipe silencers and got Varner porting our motors and stuff like that. So that going in there at third, getting a third, really helped to get the sponsors and support and all that stuff.
For sure. And it carried a lot more weight back then. I don't, it seems like nowadays it doesn't, like they put stress on Loretta's, but I don't feel like it carries as much weight as it used to. Like you're not guaranteed to walk away from a win at Loretta's with,
anything.
With anything. There's a lot of kids that don't.
There's a lot of podium kids that leave with less support. But they just get their 50% off deals.
But back in the day, it meant something to do good there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just different now. Like back then, Yamaha would supply you with bikes, and then you went out and got your own suspension, your own motor work. You did all that stuff, right?
Right.
Now, it's Star Yamaha. You're getting a full Star Yamaha factory bike at Loretta's, and these kids are signing 5-6 year deals. So it's totally different. Like, I know guys that have got third, and they're paying full pot for their bikes. It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We
crazy.
know.
I know a bunch of them. They're buying bikes from whatever dealership has them in stock for whatever price they say. Yeah.
And if you're going and getting third at Loretta's, you're pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
you're really gnarly
in any class.
Yeah, you're the cream of the crop right there. And to not have the support and stuff, it's pretty crazy. This sport's cutthroat, man. It's there's a lot of good people, but I mean, it's just life. I've learned that.
And the business side of it has changed a lot too since we were all kids racing, right? Like the people that used to own the motorcycle dealerships in town were racers and riders, and they supported, you could go into any shop and get a 20% off racer discount, and Now, no one that races owns shops, and it's all corporate, and they couldn't care less about you coming in there needing a part because you're a racer. They probably don't even have them in stock anymore, and just the whole cost of this whole thing has gone up so much for KTM to want to give a kid an 85. Well, it's like a $6,000, $6,500 motorcycle. 85s were $800 at one time.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think when I was on 80s, I think they were like maybe $3,000. 125 was $6,000, and that seemed like a lot.
In 2002, in 2002, we were getting 125s for like $2,500, $2,600 out the door.
Kawasaki.
What?
Yeah, Kawasaki 125.
Well, you got to remember we're in Texas and you're in California, so that is that's a lot of difference there too.
Yeah, $2,500. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that before. Yeah.
So from the U.S. Open, Yamaha stepped up. Or actually, after Loretta's, Yamaha stepped up and helped you out, and they gave you you got 6 125s from them, all big bikes.
Yep.
And then you went. So Loretta's that year, you went in the
12-15.
Yeah, 12-15, 125 mod and stock, and that would have been. That's basically what Schoolboy is now. Yeah. And you got 4th. Let's see, what does it say? 4th and 5th. 4th in
overall?
mod. Yeah, 4th in mod and 5th in stock.
And you were probably, how old were you? Maybe 13, 14? You were still young in that class.
No, I was. Did you say 13 to 15-year-old?
12
to 15.
12 to 15? I must have been 15 or 16. My birthday is February 26th, so I must have been 16. I had a good AMA birthday, maybe.
Well, didn't you say Chase Reed was a year or two older than you?
I thought so.
Because he's in.
I always thought he was on a bigger bike or a class ahead of me.
What about Marias?
Me and Brian were the same.
Same. Oh, okay.
Same age. Yep.
Yeah, there's like I'm looking at this, like this is a stock class: Bobby Bonds, Marias, Steve Mertens, Troy Adams, Ron Mills, Dan Truman. There's some like Justin Brayton, Josh Summey, Brian Gray, Justin Smith was in there. JJ Pescott.
So those are names I haven't heard in so long.
I know.
Good riders, too. Very good amateur riders.
Yeah, this is gnarly. So I mean, still a good your first year on 125, 4th and 5th. That's at Loretta's. Those are great finishes. Did you do any other amateur nationals? Like, did you ever go to Minios or the Texas Nationals or anything?
So my B year, the following year, I did.
That
so
year,
I did Ponca City, I believe, on 80s. I can't remember if I did it when I got on big bikes. I think I did my B year when I turned B, intermediate.
And that would have been 2000. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, 2000.
Yep. 2000 when I went B.
That year at Loretta's.
I thought I went B right away, but so that's news that I did a 12 to 15-year-old class.
Yeah, that year in 2000 you won the 125B mod, and you got 11th in 125B stock. Let me see what your results were here. 34.71. So
yeah, good turnaround.
Yeah.
I think I had a bad bike or motor problems or something
in that first
34.
moto.
I remember one year I did. Yeah, so we won. I got my first championship in the B class at Mammoth. I had one Mammoth. I can't remember how I did at Ponca or World Minis. And then, I got a championship at Loretta's that year.
Now, when you won the championship at Loretta's that year, because 125, now you think of kids on 125s, they're, 12, 14. You're not thinking about them going pro, but back like in your day, in our day, I'll just say it collectively, in our day, 125 riders were like, 125 was pro class. Like you raced 125s. You raced everybody was on a 125 and 250, and the pros were racing 125s and 250s. So did you go from, because that was your last, 2000 was your last year results at Loretta's. So did you go from that win there, which was huge, by the way? Did you get a pro deal?
No. So I got hurt when my A year before Loretta's. I was testing for factory Suzuki on the Supercross track, and they had this big old triple, and I wasn't jumping it. The track was bone dry; it wasn't watered, and it had a little double before it, and then just kind of gradually went down and then up in the pace of the triple. And I felt like such a goon rider that I wasn't jumping it. So I tried to jump this triple, and I got wheel spin all the way up face to lip, cased it over the bars. I broke my left arm, just fractured it, and then I sprained my right wrist really, really bad. So I had missed my A year. Before that was good. I think the first one was at World Minis. I had won 3 out of 4 titles at World Minis, my first A year. And then we went to Lake Whitney, Texas. I won the 125 and 250 A class. And then before Loretta's, I got hurt, and I wasn't able to ride that.
That's a bummer, because you were cleaning up that year, huh?
Yeah, I was riding really, really good. So we went in before Loretta's. I think it was well before Loretta's. But Yamaha Troy had contracts for me. Actually, this is before World Mini. We had a meeting with Eric Kehoe on our way to World Minis. We stopped at a Sizzler, and they wanted me to sign a contract for Yamaha Troy.
At Sizzler?
And at Sizzler. Hey, Sizzler was a high-end restaurant for us.
Oh, listen, I still will go to Sizzler today.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
I love it. But I thought it was a Ruth's Chris or a super gnarly steakhouse. I didn't realize it was kind of the poor restaurants until I turned pro. That's how poor we were.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I had missed Loretta's, but Yamaha Troy. I had every manufacturer wanted me to sign a contract before my first year pro. One of my biggest regrets, which wasn't really my choice, but Yamaha Troy, I think, offered us $40,000. Pro Circuit offered us $25,000, and I'm not sure what Honda and Suzuki were offering at the time. But KTM had offered us $75,000, and my dad took the $75,000 over a Yamaha Troy ride or Pro Circuit, and that's one of my biggest regrets. Just with the new bike, but it's hard to say because Grant Langston had just won the title in Europe, and it looked like it was going to be a really, really good bike. So we ended up signing with them. But I wish I could have started my career on Yamaha Troy. I think it would have went a lot differently.
Well, yeah, they were already going strong.
Yeah.
Not a new bike. And were you going with, this was still 125, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
So, so it's important. I think this is one of those things that it's important for people to understand that, people that are listening are going to, maybe some of them are going to come to that crossroads one day. And this is one thing that Tony Alessi told me years ago that I've always remembered is whenever Jesse Nelson was switching from KTM to Honda, that Honda did this thing to where they said, we don't make you an offer, you make us an offer, and we decide if that'll work or not. And so his dad had called me and said, what do we do? We don't, most people just make offers. So I called Tony Alessi and said, hey, this is what Honda's told them. And he laid out their entire Honda. It was awesome. Like he was so good to deal with. He laid out their entire program and he said it's worth about $100,000 a kid. And
wow.
So that's what they requested. That's what Honda did. But he said, here's the thing. When you go pro, you always choose bike over money. Always.
Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
if you have the right bike, the money will come. You got the wrong bike, you only get money for a year. And I've never forgot that, because I mean it rings true a lot. A lot of people sign for money, and the money, it's very short lived.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I could have made hundreds of thousands of dollars just on bonuses with Yamaha Troy, which I did good. I didn't do too. The bike wasn't horrible. It just, in Supercross, I couldn't get through the whoops.
That's the no linkage KTM, right?
Yep. That bike was fast though, dude. It was a rocket ship. But it just didn't handle that good in the whoops in Supercross. Could not get through the whoops. Any video you watch me going through the whoops, get halfway into the whoop section and my front end is just diving down.
I remember Michael Willard. I was working a lot with Michael Willard back then, and he rode those things. You know, he was factory KTM up in Canada, but he would come down here and race some when he could. And I remember well.
Yeah. Yeah, but the bike, it wasn't horrible. I think I got 2 podiums on it, 2 or 3 podiums. It hurt me. Actually, 2 weeks before my first Supercross, I was up at Castillo Ranch and the bike bogged. I was a little rhythm section, double, triple, and it bogged off the lip. And so it threw me over the bars, and then the thing just went wide open and looped me out. Landed on the back side of the jump, bruised both my heels. I tore my ACL. So I went into my first Supercross with a torn ACL.
Oh.
Wasn't able, So that doesn't help. And then I think back then, if you weren't top 10 in points, you could go race East Coast.
Yeah, I remember that.
So we went to New Orleans and whole shotted, front end push going up a Dragon's Back. The first corner was literally, you made to the left and it was a Dragon's Back. And front end push right before it, and the bars had me by the knee, and I slid up the jump, and my left leg just got closer to my head, just pop, 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 pop. And then I tore my MCL, my meniscus, my PCL. I just finished off my knee. So I ended up having to get knee surgery.
Oh, wow. So I'm assuming you were out the rest of that season.
No. So it's crazy, dude. I started riding, I believe, 1 month after surgery. I started riding 1 month. Maybe it was 2 months after surgery. But I got a month of riding in, and then I made it to Washougal. Yeah, I think it was 1 month of riding. 1 or 2 months of riding. 1 month. I started riding 1 month after surgery. I got a month of riding, and then I went to Washougal, and I got my best finish. I finished 4th the first moto. That was the moto me and Stuart were battling for 3rd. And then I finished maybe 11th in the second moto. Got 7th overall.
Wow.
But yeah, my very first outdoor national was my.
There's not a doctor out there that would suggest doing knee surgery and then go ride a month later. Dude,
it was so stupid. Yeah. So go from that. I ended up tearing my ACL. It actually lasted all the way until that was 2002. So it lasted all the way until Glen Helen of 2003. I think before I tore it again.
Did you wait
but
after that surgery? You waited?
I waited 3 months after that surgery. And then I had 2 more ACLs I tore, and I waited the full 6 months for the last 2.
Wow. Who was giving you this advice?
Dude, I don't know. I have no idea. So stupid. I mean, an ACL is not fully healed for a year.
Right.
6 months. It's just it's strong enough so you're not going to tear it up again, right?
Yes, well, at 6 months, it feels great. At 6 months, it's starting to feel really good.
Yeah, now they're saying it's almost like non-weight bearing for like 5 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. That is crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, I just want to get out there and go race.
For sure.
Well, and probably, and this is just me guessing, but you said didn't you buy a house?
Yeah.
And so you probably had some bills to pay, huh?
I was still getting paid. When I signed the contracts, there's a clause if I got hurt, I didn't get paid. And my dad's like, nope. And at the time, I'm like, Dad, who cares? Just sign the contract. And he's like, no. So any contract I had after that, every manufacturer has that in there. If you get hurt, you don't get paid. And we got it taken out every single time. So no, I had the money coming in. I wanted to race, wanted to get out there.
And I'm sure coming up racing, I know a little bit about it, but being broke coming up racing the amateurs, like you get a really big underdog feeling, right? And you got to fight. And then anytime you're injured, I'm sure right as you're turning pro, all the fighting you had to do, you're just wanting to race. You know, you had an extra fight to get there.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just, dude, that's all I wanted to do was race Supercross as a little kid. I remember watching Ricky Johnson and David Bailey, and I loved it so much. That's the only thing I thought about. I didn't want to do any other sport. I just wanted to ride my dirt bike. And so, it was just, I made it, and I got hurt, and I just wanted to get back out there. Hey, stop it.
So, all right. So how long did you stay with KTM?
I stayed with KTM for 2002 and 2003.
So 2 years with them. So, all right. So tell us about the next contract and how that one came about.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get off that bike so bad. What's his name? Who is Ken Roxon's team manager?
No. It's Larry Brooks.
Larry Brooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Larry Brooks came in, and he was a team manager in 2003, and he offered me $250,000 to stay there, and I'm like, nope, I wanted off that bike. And so Factory Connection, I had signed a contract with Factory Honda, I think for 150, and then there was something if I got certain position, it went up to 200 or something.
So it got you close, but not as much.
No.
But you learned your lesson.
I turned out
that. Then that's another good one there. Like you learned your lesson in the second go around. You ended up signing for less to get a better bike.
Yeah.
And,
I had to.
And so that was kind of the start of what was the Geico Honda team, right?
Yep.
Were you there the first year?
No, they were there before. They had Travis Preston and Mike LaRocco.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
So they've been around for, I think Chris Gosler was on there.
Yep, Preston.
So they've been around
Preston won Supercross. We won one of the 125 coasts.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep.
But you were early.
That was probably they were 2 or 3 years in, I would guess.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was you said roughly a $200,000 deal.
I think it was 150, and then the following year, if I got a certain position, then it went up to maybe 200.
Nice. And that bike, much better bike?
Well, went from 2 strokes, riding 125, went to the 4-stroke.
Oh, yeah.
The Honda. Yes.
Were those things good?
Yeah.
I can't remember if the Hondas were good at first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It took me a long time to get comfortable with it. It was a totally different bike. You let off the gas and there's so much engine brake, you know. But yeah, no, we struggled a little bit with motor stuff for a little while, but they got it figured out, and my Hondas were really good. Yeah, they were really good.
So your first year with that Honda team, do you remember how your results were?
Well, I signed with them. My first year was 2004, and I tore my ACL. I think I was going to do East Coast. I think I looked it up, and I ended up racing it and got, I think, 11th the first round. I didn't think I had raced at all that year, but I tore my ACL, and I think I remember in practice I overshot a triple and hyperextended my knee, and my knee swelled up, and I didn't think I raced, but I think I finished 11th, but I didn't race another race after that.
That whole year?
So, yep. So 2004 was nothing.
And then 2005, do you remember how that one went?
2005 was, I think I had struggled a little bit the first couple of rounds, maybe the first 3 rounds. And then that was San Francisco. I won San Francisco. And then I think I got a couple more podiums after that. And I believe I finished 4th overall in the series.
So a question, because this is something that a lot of people are not going to know. Through the years, and I'm sure Taylor has too, but I've had an idea of what some people's bonus structures were. But when you're doing as good as you were doing that year, were your bonuses making a huge difference in your
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I probably brought in 40 or 45,000 through my bonus through Honda, and then all the other sponsors. Wow.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
2,500 from AMA.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. But now I get what, $2,000 to make a main event?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
a lot better.
You know, if you go, this is funny to me, but if you go try to search the pay structure for a Supercross racer, you cannot find it. You know why you can't find it? Because they're embarrassed to have it out there.
Yeah.
From the AMA.
You have to go through the pro racing website.
Yeah. But finding it then's tough.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're embarrassed to have it out there.
It was $250 the last year I raced to make the show, and it was $200 entry fee.
Yeah. I think I remember it being $360 to make a main event.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy.
Crazy.
So it is getting better. We'll give them that.
Yeah.
It's better.
It's way better. I mean, I believe it needs to be a lot more, but dude, at least these guys can go and at least these guys can go to the races and put it in the night show, and they're getting $1,000 or $1,500 if you're in 450s. Like, these guys can get to the next race. They're not. I'm sure they're struggling a little bit still, but
they're eating
not
Sizzler.
as bad as it used.
Sizzler on the way.
Yeah, they're eating a Sizzler.
So, all right. So 4th, how'd you do? And was outdoors your thing at all?
I was hurt every year. I think I only had 1 year that I didn't. 2005. I think 2005 was the only year I raced Supercross and outdoors a whole season. But I went and stayed at Jeff Stanton's house for 3 months for outdoors, and we are cycling. We're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, going on runs and putting in our motos, and get to the race, and not even halfway, I'm throwing an anchor out. And he's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I don't know." So I think we went to Bud's Creek, and it was 75 degrees. The weather was perfect. And we're going, okay, this is going to be better. Maybe I'm just fighting with the humidity and all that stuff. Same thing. Halfway, I'm throwing an anchor. So he's like, "We need to go to the doctors." So we go to the doctors, get tested. Well, I ended up having Epstein-Barr. I had mono, and it turned into Epstein-Barr. So they had given me, I didn't have to take any time off the bike. I guess it wasn't that bad, but they just gave me a steroid shot, and I had to race the whole outdoors with Epstein-Barr.
Oh, that's misery. Because that's basically like overworking your body, right?
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, so you get mono. You can get it from girls. You can get it from drinking off somebody's drink. It's very contagious. And then if you're working out a lot, not getting enough rest or whatever it is, it turns into Epstein-Barr. I think Pastrana had it. I think he was laid up for like a year.
Yeah,
so bad.
It's kind of becoming common. There was a period there when it seemed like kind of when Alden came along where people were really like into the cycling or fitness trainers became a big deal. That a lot of riders were overtraining off the bike, not on the bike, but off the bike, overtraining. And there was, man, a lot of people had Epstein-Barr. And that's kind of, where I learned about it. It's like, yeah, they're like you work your body kind of into a hole.
Yeah, you got to recover.
Yeah, and it's let me tell you, it is the worst. Like, as soon as you hit that breaking point, you're done. Like, you have no energy. You feel like junk in the mornings when you wake up. Yeah, it's the worst thing ever.
Maybe I've got Epstein-Barr right now.
Epstein belly.
You feeling tired?
Yeah, all the time.
I like that one.
So, all right. So you went through.
Moving on.
So what was that? How long were you with that Honda team?
I was with them for 4 years, 2004 through 2007.
2000, and then what happened from 2007 to 2008?
So 2008, I'll tell a good story. My agent, I don't know if I should say his name, but
let's hear the story first, and then we'll tell you if you say it or not.
So he's telling me he's talking to KTM. Well, Kurt Nicole at the time, KTM didn't have a race team. They were just supplying NDK with bikes. So that NDK was kind of like the factory KTM team. So I call Kurt, and I'm talking to Kurt about a contract, and we're getting everything ready. And I'm calling my agent. Yeah, we're talking. Well, the day that I'm going to sign my contract with KTM, I call my agent, and I said, hey, what's going on with the contract? He goes, oh, I'm sorry, they gave it to somebody else. And I'm like, okay. And I drove down to KTM and signed the contract and fired him the same day. Yeah,
no
super
way.
Shady.
Wow.
Super, super shady. Yeah. I think he was trying to get someone else on there for more money.
Oh,
And
wow.
he had no idea I was talking to them. Yeah. So I did that whole thing myself.
Hey,
whole contract stuff.
You could tell us his name after.
All right. His nickname's Shady. I don't know if you know.
I don't, but
Literally.
Yeah, but I understand it now. Wow.
I don't even think he's in the sport no more. I'm not sure.
Well, doing stuff like that,
We're
I can
fine.
imagine.
I say hi if I ever run into him. I'm nice to him and all that stuff. It's whatever. It's back in the day. But yeah, just
wow.
so yeah. So I signed a 2-year contract with KTM. So how did 2007? So 2007, I think I raced East Coast. No, I did West Coast, but I was struggling. Still, the KTM, we're on the KTM 4-stroke. I think I may have got a couple fourths. I don't think I got any podiums that year. And then my contract was to race the 450 outdoors. Well, before outdoors, I had a big old get off in Paris, and I'll have to find the photo for you, but my whole back is black and blue. I tore a muscle in my back. I couldn't ride for 3 months. I knocked myself silly. So as soon as I get on the bike, I'm on the bike for like a week or two, and they're like, we want you racing. And I have no fitness. I have nothing. I think I went to Redbud was the first race I went to, and I got maybe 12th. And then the second moto, do you remember that crash? Michael Leslie crashed going on one of the downhills.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the second moto. I ended up landing on him, like right directly on top of him, and it jacked me up. Like I was a mess after that. I felt so bad. I don't even think I've told him that story, but
was that Red
plus,
Bud?
Red Bud.
Yeah.
Did I say Bud Street?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, sorry, Red Bud.
But he ended up being okay after that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he was fine. I think he may have broke a few things, maybe, but so yeah, I landed on him. I'm exhausted. I've only been riding the bike for a week or two, and my mechanic's just like, "Don't pull off, don't pull off." Well, I think I finished well outside the top 20, and so the next few races, I'm struggling. I'm getting like 18th, I think, close to top 20s. I'm maybe 4 races in, and someone comes to me from KTM and says, "Hey, I heard a rumor if you don't get top 10 this weekend, they're letting you go." And I think I went 9-11 for 10th overall. And so I'm like, oh, I'm safe. And then next day I get a call from Danny Palladino, or I forget his name, the team manager at the time. It had nothing to do with KTM because my contract was through KTM, but I guess I had a clause.
I remember Palladino.
Yeah. I wanted to light that dude's house on fire. But yeah, I got a call and they let me go. I think I had a clause in there if I didn't get 5th overall in the championship that they could let me go. And I think I finished maybe 6th.
Oh, wow.
In Supercross. Yeah. So did Washougal, got top 10, and got a call the next day and said I was fired.
Now, is this before, because it was through MDK, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sorry, my voice is coming and going. Is this before Steve Lampson or after? Mono.
This is, I think, man, when did he come in? No, Steve Lampson was there. He wasn't team manager though.
He wasn't?
I don't think.
Well, he was team manager for a little while.
Okay, so maybe the other guy was above him, and then he was team manager.
Yes, that's how it was.
Yeah, but I remember we went to Europe to go race Supercrosses, and Lammy was with us.
Yeah. So he was. Yeah. So it was during that time. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So, and they just, I mean, you get 10th at an outdoor national, and they drop you.
Yep.
Wow.
Cut me. I think I finished 6th in Supercross, and then, I mean, I was struggling, dude. I'd been on the bike for a couple of weeks and had no fitness, and you know how it is going into an outdoor, riding for 2 weeks, having three months off the bike, 3 or 4 months, whatever it was.
Well, I can tell you what didn't help, and I was over here searching on my phone trying to find what it was called because we rode it for several years, and I was happy to forget the name of it, but I think it was called PDS. Wasn't that what the suspension was called?
Oh, those forks.
PDS?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they were horrendous. The best thing they ever did was get rid of those things. No link. Yeah.
Still no linkage.
That 450 was the worst bike I ever rode. It was horrible. I could not ride. I literally went to Unadilla, and it poured, dude. It rained so hard. I was so uncomfortable with that bike. My mechanic, he just kept telling me, do not pull off the track. Finish the race. I finished 40-40, I think, at Unadilla in the mud.
Wow.
And I'm the type of person, if I'm not comfortable with my bike, I'm way, way off. And, yeah, I finished, I think, dead last both motos at Unadilla. That bike was horrible. The 250 wasn't too bad. It wasn't the greatest, but
you could manage it.
What I would do to be able to ride that bike now, back then, it would have been a whole different story.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or even the one, even the one Josh Hansen had, right?
Josh, no.
Did
Josh
he?
Didn't have. I don't think he had a linkage. They didn't get a linkage until DeCoster came on.
Oh, that's right.
2015.
That's
14
right.
or 15 or something. Yeah. So the 250, you could ride it. It wasn't that bad. But for whatever reason, that 450, man,
so
it was
much
horrible.
Power. So much power.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was.
Go ahead.
I was done after that. So that was 2007.
Yeah.
So I quit racing. Went to go work for my ex-girlfriend's dad, who had a big construction company, grading and demolition, and I became an estimator. And I did that for 6 to 8 months. I got a call to go to Europe and race GPs in 2010. So, I'm sorry, 2008. Middle of 2008, I got fired. I take that back. I did a fill-in ride in 2009. So I was working construction. I was an estimator. Wasn't really riding much. Kawasaki called me. They needed a test rider. So started testing with them. And I think I did maybe three sessions with them. And they're like, "You're not a test rider. You're a racer." And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And they're like, "We want you to go race." And I'm literally just come off the couch from after middle of outdoors until 2009. They were about probably more than midway into Supercross. So I think I did 2 weeks of riding, and then they threw me in, and they're like, "We just want you to go try to make the main event." And I was able to make all the mains. I think in Florida, I broke the top 10. I got 10th. And then the next round was Vegas Supercross, and I crashed off a rhythm section triple over the bars going out of the stadium and broke my collarbone.
Oh.
And so that was kind of get my way back into racing, and ended up breaking my collarbone. That was 2009. And then I was done racing after that. Started my motocross schools. Started coaching and did that for 2.5 years. And then in 2012.
No racing during that time.
No, no interest of doing amateur races at all. No interest. Hate going to the track, and it's just such a long day. So yeah, no racing at all.
Wow.
And then Mike Craig had this rich lady, and he called me. He goes, "Hey, you want to race?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So they had a bike built for somebody that they ended up getting rid of that rider. I forget who it was. And they had a Honda 250 that was built, and started riding that bike. And I think I had 2 weeks on the bike, maybe 2 weeks of riding going into 2012. And then race 2012.
Oh, sorry, my voice is horrible, but that's the 2012 comeback right there. That's how that went down. So Mike Craig.
Mike Craig and a rich lady.
That's awesome. And hey, and
Mike
by the
was
way,
there for a week, and then he was gone.
Yeah. Well, hey, by the way, I talked to Mike a bunch while I was in California here recently, and he's doing good, which is awesome.
Oh, dude, he's doing so good.
Yeah.
I love that guy, man. That was my hero growing up. Like, he was the Verona local, and I was by his side 24/7 if we weren't on the bike.
That's awesome.
And I'm asking him for his goggles. He used to give me his goggles. I think I got a jersey from him. Like,
Stingray.
I was probably 11, 12 years old, and just would not leave his side. Yeah.
That's awesome. We when Christian was young, I'm going to say 85s. I don't know, it was 85s. We started doing camps together. Like when we would go to nationals, we would gather up a group of kids before it started, and we'd take them to a track, that was close by, and do a camp. And we did that. We did that for 5 or 6, 7 years, and we became really good buddies. And when I would go to California, he'd always want to work with my kid, and I'd always let him because, dude, he's so passionate about the sport. And, he had some issues. I knew about him, but, at the track, he's a different person. He's just a guy who loves dirt bikes and is really good at teaching dirt bikes. So, for me,
very good. Mike is one of the best trainers. Yep.
I was so pumped to hear he was doing good. And like I said, we tried to meet up to go ride the hills several times because he's the king of riding the hills. We never could make it work, but I talked to him on the phone a lot. Man, he's doing so good, and I'm stoked for him.
He's doing really, really well. So before I started racing, I came back to coaching and always seeing him at the tracks and talking with him and stuff like that. Yeah, he's doing really good, which is good to see.
For sure.
Yeah, and he's the one I learned how to do free riding. Like we would go down, he would be I think he was on a CR 250 two-stroke, and we were in Palm Avenue, and he's just hitting these massive cliff jumps, just upside down, huge. And that's how I started. I'd start hitting little cliff jumps, and I pretty much learned most of my bike skills from that guy.
That's awesome. And he had a long career too, dude. He raced for a long time.
Yeah, I think the early 90s to what was his last year? I think it was my first year, 2002 or 2003.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike was a bad dude.
For sure. Oh yeah, Honda. Hey, nothing's better than Honda of Troy, Mike Craig.
Yep. Oh, so fast.
That when they had they were a powerhouse when they had like James Dobb and Mike Brown and was Mike Brown on there? No, it was James.
I think so.
James Dobb, maybe Mike Brown, Mike Craig. They had the gnarliest group of riders,
and their bikes were
sick.
Oh, so
Casey
sick.
Lytle, maybe.
Casey Lytle.
Yeah.
Who else was on there? I got to think of it, but yeah, those were the days right there. So, all right, so that was 2012, and I remember, like, how old were you then in 2012?
I was 28.
28, and you had some pretty good results then, right?
Yeah, I think I finished 7th overall. I think my best result was a 6th. I remember San Diego Supercross. So I only had 2 weeks on the bike. I had 2.5 years off. I had a bike and I was riding, like free riding and stuff, but not doing motos or anything like that. So my fitness, I was just racing myself into shape. In San Diego, I'm battling for 2nd and 3rd place for probably half the moto. And then the anchor just comes out. And I think I finished 6th.
That's
6th
still
place.
good. 2 weeks on the bike.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think I finished 7th overall that season. And then Toilet Designs called me. All their riders got hurt, and they wanted me to fill in for them for Vegas Supercross. And then Christian Craig was hurt, and I did 5 outdoors for them.
How did you do? How'd you do on that TLD bike?
I had some bad luck. I got, what was it? Maybe the heat race. Someone T-boned me. I think I was like 2nd or 3rd and jacked my shifter up, my transmission. I went to the LCQ. I think I won the LCQ, and then I finished like 12th or something in the main.
That's
not that good.
Pingree was team manager then, right?
No, Tyler Keefe.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Was it
Ping may have been before or after.
Dang, TK's been there that long. Is he older than you?
No.
No. We're about the same age. He might be a little bit younger than me. I think he's a couple years younger than me.
Hey, I did not realize he'd been there that long.
Yeah.
It's Troy's nephew.
Well, yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
I didn't know, but so he would be on Bill Keefe is Tyler's dad, and he's the brother of Tyler's mom, right?
I hope not.
Troy, or you talking about him being related to Troy?
No, I'm sorry. He's the brother. He's the brother of Troy's wife. Bill is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how they're related. Yes.
Sorry, I said that way wrong.
Yeah, I'm like, huh?
Yeah, no, sorry. I knew where I was trying to go. I just didn't get there. Yeah.
I knew what you were talking about. So yeah, I did 5 outdoors for them. I think I was able to. I thought I got a 9th or 10th at Budge Creek. I always really enjoyed Budge Creek. 9th or 10th the first moto, and then second moto, I think my bike blew up. And I think I was running in the top 10, I believe. And then my bike blew up. So I was able to get a top 10 in the outdoors in the 450 class, which is tough. My fitness was getting better, but you know how it is. Supercross fitness is totally different than motocross fitness.
Yeah, those motos are way too long when you're not in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great when you're when you're in the middle of being good at it, but whew.
Oh, you know it was good. I went to I think I got a top 10 at what was it, Colorado somehow. Yeah, I think I got a top 10 overall in Colorado.
Yeah, you got ninth.
First practice, I was fourth fastest.
Oh wow.
In practice. Yeah. Yeah, we switched suspension. We went, I won't say who, but we were using a certain suspension, and then we had a new guy from Showa come in, and man, that week before Colorado, we went testing, and I was 5 seconds a lap faster than I was on the previous suspension. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it just shows how important. So any parents that are listening to this, if you don't have the money and you want to do something to that bike, get the suspension done. It is way more important than having a motor. Because if that bike doesn't handle good, the kid's not going to be able to ride it.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter how good the motor is.
Suspension first.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Get that suspension done. Yeah. So it was a huge difference. So I went in to Colorado, and first or second practice, I was fourth fastest. Just blown away. Like, not riding at any outdoor nationals or anything for 2.5 years. I mean, I did a couple before that, but yeah, we got the bike dialed in, and I believe I finished top 10 somehow. I come off the track the last moto, and I am puking my brains out. And someone comes up to me and he goes, "Are you dipping while you're riding?" And I'm like, "No." But it was just this black, chunky, it looked like dip that I was throwing up.
Oh.
And I didn't know at the time, but I had altitude poisoning. I didn't figure it out until I think that next night or the next morning, I had looked it up to see what it was. And I had altitude poisoning. I spent myself so hard. I think Michael Leslie was behind me. And the last 2 laps, I was so tired, and I was giving it everything I had. And as soon as I crossed that finish line, I was just all over the ground. Didn't even have a chance to get my helmet off. Nothing.
Oh,
yeah.
You trash that helmet and get a new one.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
So, so that was fill in with TLD, and that was still 2012. Yep.
And Troy Lee, they wanted me to sign a contract with them for 2013, and I wanted to be loyal to the lady who sponsored me. She spent like $280,000. Like, we had really good bikes, suspension, and I wanted to be loyal to her. And we were looking at Renegade semis, and we were trying to start our own team. So I had turned down that deal. Well, I think I had a full month of riding. I started riding Supercross in October. Had a full month. I felt great. Jason Anderson was out there on a 250, and I was right there with lap times with them and riding and stuff at the tracks. And around November, we had my guy calls that was doing our our motors. And he's like, "Hey, motors are done. You ready to test?" And I'm like, "Yep, let me call Jen and get you paid and all that stuff." Call her, no answer. Call her the next day, no answer. This goes on for a week, no answer. We'll come to find out she had got sick and almost died and stopped all the money coming in. And by then, TLD had already signed another rider, and that spot went away.
Oh, man.
So that ended. Yeah, that ended. And I felt so good going into 2013. I mean, my fitness was good, and I felt great on the bike. We had a new suspension guy, the same guy that redid TLD's 450. And, yeah, felt so good, and it just all fell apart.
Hey, it just kind of slapped me in the face, but I know who that lady was. So she had a son that raced.
No, it wasn't her son. it was a kid that she had sponsored for a long time. It was pretty much her son, but it wasn't biological son.
Okay, so yeah, because she came to Loretta's 1 year, and I had to show her my driver's license to prove to her that I wasn't Jeremy McGrath. I swear. Yeah, I swear. It was at karaoke, which I've gotten this a couple of times. I haven't been as slim as Jeremy McGrath in 25 years, but I've gotten this a couple times. But I showed her. I kept telling her I was not Jeremy McGrath, and she wouldn't believe me. I should have just gone with it, right? But
you should have gone with it.
Yeah, but I showed her my driver's license to prove that I wasn't Jeremy McGrath. But I remember her. The kid that she helped out was named Joey something, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't know the kid's name.
I remember this well. Yeah. I remember it mainly because there was it's a long amateur story, but there was Chris Brennan was a UFC, like a king of the cage fighter, and he fitness trained moto guys. I was really good friends with him, and him and the kid's dad got into it at Underground. Back when Underground first started out. So it's all coming back to me now. So I remember that lady.
Yeah. She had a lot of money, man.
A lot of money. Yeah.
And she helped me out tremendously in 2012. Yeah. Like I said, dude, she spent $280,000. We had another rider, but we had 4 bikes that probably had 30 grand a piece in them.
Wow.
Yeah, bikes were really good for a privateer bike, which is crazy because at the time, I think we were putting out 42.5 horsepower, and now these bikes are 10, 12 horsepower faster.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Crazy
for not near as much money.
Yeah. I mean, a stock bike's almost 40 horsepower.
So what?
It's crazy the change.
So when that lady went away, the TLD deal, they'd already filled the spot, so there was nothing there. So what'd you do then?
2012, I was done. Yeah, I just coached. I coached until 2016, and I was sick of riding. I was over it. And I go through my phases where I'd ride for a couple weeks or something, or I would go ride and go film and throw a big whip, and then I was done. I wouldn't touch a bike for 3 months. And I did that starting around 2012. I never really rode consistently. So around 2015 or 16, I had a brand new bike that Escondido Cycle Center gave me. I was getting a Toyota Tundra from Toyota of Escondido. I was just so sick of going to the tracks. I was sick of riding. I was overtraining. I'm like, I want to go do something different. So I went and became an electrician. And that was September of 2016. And then became an electrician, lived a normal life, working 5-6 days a week, and didn't really touch a bike. I probably rode from 2016 until 6 months ago about 20 times, maybe probably 15 times.
Wow.
In that whole period of 8 years. Yeah.
And then, hey, let's go race Supercross.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. And I'm having so much fun riding again on my bike when I'm healthy. Getting landed on that wasn't too fun, but just being on my bike and training and just putting the effort in. Like, I wish I would have had the same desire for riding and training like I do now when I was a kid. Because when I was younger, I trained my butt off. Don't get me wrong. I was fit, but I had to have a trainer. I had to pay a trainer a lot of money to get me out of bed and get me on a mountain bike or road bike or gym. Like, so I didn't have that desire. If he didn't come to the house, I wasn't training. I was playing video games.
I'm glad you said that because we try to get this across to these kids every single day. It's like we've been through it, right? And so we understand what you understand. But these kids, of course, they know way more than we do. But it's like 80% of effort at everything in life. And we're like, if you could just give 100%, it's only for like 4 hours a day.
And it's something you love.
Yeah. And you can be so much better. So I'm glad you said that, because, that's somebody that's still out there doing it. Like, somebody you can watch on TV. And I meant to ask you this earlier, and there's no offense by this, because again, I'm older than you, but what's the oldest guy that's ever made a 250 main event?
I don't know, a 250. Probably Dabalos, maybe 35, 34. Because Dabalos was pretty old, but he finished off out on 450s.
Right. So you're the oldest guy that's ever made a 250 main event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Any main event. Yeah, I got it beat. I think it's Chad Reed or Justin Brayton, but I have it beat by 2 years and 3 months.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. But the one that I like, someone had a stat, which was pretty crazy. I don't think anyone's ever going to beat this one. It was like 4,000 days between races from 2012 to now. I think it was 4,000 between making main events.
That is
which I thought was
that's
tricky.
a rad
That
stat.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
4,000. That's a lot of days.
Yeah.
and a lot of
and
life.
And I didn't do any racing. I didn't race. I did that dual sport race. That was probably in like April or May, around there of last year. And then I think the 2 weeks before Supercross, I went and did a swap moto and a Saturday MX race at Glen Helen. The dual sport race wasn't really a race. There was 4 guys on the line. But I was able to go race some good kids, some amateur kids, a couple weeks before Supercross. I just wanted to get a couple gate drops. Because you know how it is. You can go practice all day long, but as soon as that gate drops, it's a whole different ballgame.
Oh, yeah. It changes everything.
I like that a dual sport against 4 guys sparked you into a Supercross return.
Yeah, no kidding.
Dude, and I had the gnarliest arm pump the first lap. And by the 4 laps in, I had a 20 or 30 second lead, and I was my hands were locked up, and I'm like, breathe.
So do you foresee are you thinking you're going to race again next year?
This was a 1-year deal. I told myself you're just doing a 1 year, but I don't know, man. I'm having so much fun. As long as I can stay healthy and still compete for the main events, I don't think I'm going to lose it in 8 months,
No.
So
you didn't lose it in
I kind of want
12 years.
Well, what about an outdoor or two?
I don't know. I was just talking to my dad. I said no. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing outdoors. But my dad's like, you need to go to Fox. And he goes, you raced the way you rode at Glen Helen. He's like, I thought you were 19 years old again. And he's like, you need to just go do one. So I don't know. I'll think about it. Probably not. Outdoors are so gnarly.
They are gnarly, but it would be cool to get one of those under your belt and probably break records there too.
No.
John Dowd.
No. John Dowd's got me beat. He podiumed Southwick at 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, hey, put the big boy pants on and let's get ready for Southwick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. But I'm thinking about it. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. If I can consistently put it in the main event. I'm thinking about going to Arlington and Daytona on a 450.
Oh, that would be sick.
Just to go try. I ride a 450 so much better than I do a 250. So I just want to try it and just see. I'll be lucky probably to qualify for the night show. Those guys are going so fast.
Oh, dude, you're good. You're good.
You got that.
Hey, and if you do come to Arlington, let us know. You can come ride our Supercross track.
We got it.
Well, I might be heading out there Saturday.
Yeah, let us know.
You guys have a track close to Arlington?
Yeah,
our track's an hour and 15 hour and a half from the stadium. Yep.
Okay.
We got RV spots, laundry, gym. What else?
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna hit up Master Pool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I know he had RV spots and stuff.
Yep, we've got everything you need. We got full
Perfect.
gym, laundry room, full kitchen. You can store food in, whatever you need to do.
Really?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Showers, all of it.
So hopefully
awesome.
I'm leaving Saturday. Get out there by Monday.
Okay.
Get there early enough Monday where I can ride Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I got to go take the motorhome to the pits and park on Thursday. So I probably have to take off Wednesday night, depending on how far it is.
We, you and I have a mutual friend, Sean Miller.
Yeah, he just called me.
Oh,
He's
did
like,
he?
I heard you doing a podcast.
Yeah, I told him earlier. So yeah, when you get off, holler at Sean too. He's been out to our place and he can validate it.
Yeah, no, I'm coming out.
Awesome. Yeah.
Perfect. I'd rather. Yep. I know you guys, so I was just looking for someone to ride. I knew Master Pool had a track, and but yeah, I'd love to come out there.
Cool.
And then head out to Daytona after that.
Perfect. Well, dude,
Mm-hmm.
so grateful that we got to do this podcast with you. I wish my voice would have been better. It's slowly gotten worse as the podcast has gone on. But man, I really wanted to do this story, and I think it's like perfect timing. Actually.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Like I'm glad it didn't come together before you actually put it in the main a couple. I think the timing was perfect.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And
thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, well, we appreciate you taking the time. And like I said, the idea behind the entire podcast is just getting, that valuable information and to people who don't have the insight or the inside track, that aren't going to come up and talk to you and get your whole life story. But we can put it out there for everybody. And then not only that, but somebody who's raced probably 3 different generations of Supercross racers.
And bikes.
Yeah, and bikes. And
2 strokes, carbureted 4 strokes, fuel injected 4 strokes.
Oh, that's true.
All the way through it. Hey, that carbureted 4-stroke compared to the fuel injected was a whole different animal too.
Oh, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's instant power.
It's so nice. The 04 Kawasaki 250Fs. Oh my god. 04, 05. Trying to ride Supercross on that. Just
yeah. It took a lot of Cowie riders out.
Yeah.
That bog.
Oh yeah.
A lot of Cowie riders. I know. Even we had that problem though at Honda. I think it was just that the bikes were new,
mm-hmm.
and they're still trying to develop and figure it out. I think we ended up putting like a 42 millimeter, what is it called? Carb on it to help the bog, and that made a huge difference.
Huh.
A lot of people used to just figure out how to ride around the bog.
That's what I had to do. I was
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah,
there
you
was
probably
no
almost
other.
had to keep it like
There was
mid-throttle the whole, or not mid-throttle, but keep it, don't go from nothing to everything.
Yeah, and you got to land with quarter or half throttle. Try to get through it.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's the worst. Yeah, these kids are so spoiled nowadays.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah, you pull them out of the box.
Well, it's like making a kid on an 85 do no clutch motos like today, like through corners when my 85 probably wouldn't have gone through that corner without the clutch.
Right.
Yeah.
But these bikes are so fast. Like they all run like KX60s used to. You ever been thrown off a KX60?
I had an actual KX60.
Yeah. Those things are like light switches. You barely crack the throttle. They're wide open.
Yeah. I don't know how these kids ride like these Cobras and stuff. Have you ever tried to ride a Cobra?
No.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's just like nothing to everything. Like,
yeah. And we're out here trying to, like parents and everybody's losing their mind. They're just chopping the throttle. I'm like, well, you might do that too. That thing is trying to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, the bike difference is super crazy. It's fun to be able to start out on 125s and then now be able to ride the bikes. It's just crazy.
Yep.
And now you're having to do 4s in every Supercross somewhere.
Yeah.
But
yep.
Like like, I mean, used to Stewart was the only one that would do a 4 in the small class, and now there's at least one that everybody's got to do.
Yeah, but you got there was 365 riders at whatever Supercross that was, or jumping the triples.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh
yeah, 3 of them. One of them's here with us right now. And
Wow.
but somebody said in an interview, who was it? There was an interview somewhere. I got to look it up who it was, but it was a pretty gnarly dude that said, it's Villapoto. Yeah. Villapoto said, I would have never, that's the difference. I would have never jumped that on a 65.
He said he never would have jumped it on an 85.
Yeah.
He went to the Yamaha test track before U.S. Open and he only doubled the triple. He would not have jumped that triple, and they're doing it on 65s.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's evolution.
Yeah.
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 Right. Bikes are better. Kids are better. The quality of training programs is better. The technique has come a long ways,
Well, and then having access to them. I mean,
yeah,
these kids can ride a Supercross track 4 days a week if they wanted to.
Yeah, we were on a Supercross track with 50s, 65s, 85s, C riders, women, girls, and a vet rider all on the same day last Thursday.
Wow. No way. That's crazy.
They spent the whole day. We had 50 riders doubling through actual Supercross swoops, jumping all the way through
Wow.
there.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I can tell you the level of the privateers, I feel like from back when I grew up racing is totally different, man. These privateer kids are going so fast. And it's just the training, the training facilities and riding coaches and all that stuff has just elevated the sport so much.
Well, and there's
I thought I was going to qualify easy. I literally thought, and man, that was a rude awakening.
Yeah, so me and Sean Miller had a conversation before the first round, and he was kind of thinking that, he's no problem. I'm like, dude, this is going to be a big deal. If he puts it in the show tonight, to me, that is a huge accomplishment at 40. Because you've missed 12 years of like a whole lot of evolution, and like you're saying, the privateer speed now, they're racing through the track. When I was a privateer, I was just jumping the jumps. Like I'm just figuring it out like every weekend.
That's how I am. Like I watch video and these kids are hitting these rhythms and stuff so hard, and I'm like just making sure I down it perfect and then come up short or go far,
Yeah,
and they're just pushing and scrubbing off stuff like.
Well,
I used to do that back in the day. I'm nowhere near
for sure, but not everybody did that back in the day.
Well,
not everyone.
Like you were doing it, but I was not. And now everyone's racing through it. But it's just like we have a kid on a 65 that rides that Supercross track, a legit Supercross track. Any chance we'll let him, he'll spend the whole day on it, and he's scrubbing and whipping through the rhythms. He doubles everything on a 65 and just races through it the whole time.
Wow.
We've got him attacking berms, right? So by the time he's on 125 or a 250, it's going to feel like a night track to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's going to come right in to futures comfortable.
Exactly.
Well, and the other thing what I was going to say about those guys, like the privateers that you're racing against to try to get in that main event, a lot of those privateers are guys who would win amateur nationals. And some of them are guys that win a lot of amateur nationals, and there's just no seats available when they get to the pro ranks. There's a lot of bad dudes that are straight up privateers right now, and so it on both coasts, East and West Coast. Like so it's not like I can't think of. I wish I could think of somebody from back in the day that just showed up to all the races but was never going to make it. But it's not like that. Like these guys, I'm not saying.
I know a couple.
Yeah, but I mean these guys are pretty freaking good. Yeah. Which is why the LCQs were so gnarly this last weekend. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Last weekend the LCQs were the best races of the weekend. They were so good.
But that's also why it's such a gnarly accomplishment for you to make mains. That's
Right.
amazing to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is
for sure.
That's the coolest thing at the race right now.
And listen, those kids are willing to end it all to make the main event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
They're willing to be. This is the last. This is it. We're done. I'm taking all y'all with me.
Yeah, they're not scared, man.
No,
not scared at all. I just try to make a pass and get a couple bike links on them so they can't clean me out in the corner.
Yeah, get away. I don't know if you've watched back that LCQ, but there was a dude on Suzuki who took the last spot.
Yes.
Y'all were the only 4 that finished the race. He cleaned everybody else out.
I know. Crazy. He got me in the first start. He didn't clean me out. He probably would have tried, but we came across. I passed him, and I don't know the sand section where the mechanics were, and he dove down underneath me and just held that thing wide open to the next sand section.
Yeah,
he would have tried to pull me too.
Everyone in his wake was when he went by, they were rolling without their motorcycle, and then when it was over, he tried to do a burnout, and I was in my recliner, of course, but I was like, dude, you need to chill with that Revy. That's a Suzuki. There are no parts at the stadium. Like, you still got to race the main.
Dude, it was pretty funny. Every single person that qualified in that main event in the LCQ were fist pumping off the finish line. They were so stoked.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Every single one.
Hey, but it was that good of a race. Like, it was so good. But not only the first one was good, and then the red flag, and then the second one was even that much better.
And then y'all had to go right back to the start, right?
I know.
Yeah,
dude, that was brutal.
Yeah, so let's talk.
8 minutes.
Let's talk about
8 minutes was the
second.
gap. Is that all it was?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess somebody from Feld said that they're doing what the fans want, right? I mean, I'm a fan. I don't want that.
Who wrote the letter?
I don't know, but as a racer, there's no way, because with a regular schedule, you barely have any time from LCQ to main event.
Yeah.
So, but it's cut down even less, right? They were trying to kill time between y'all's LCQ and y'all's race. The new format doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I guess they do it to get fans there earlier because they don't really want to watch the 250s. They want to watch the 450s.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think that.
Yeah, that's just what I heard.
But I don't understand how that's. I mean, to me, I think if people are going to watch a Supercross, it's only 3 hours. You're watching it. You're there to watch it all. I mean, there are many nights where 250 racing much better than 450 racing. Many nights.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I feel for it. And mainly because, I was at a few of those West Coast races, and we were in every LCQ, and it's not a lot of time. It's not fun.
No. That just motivates me to get in through the heat race.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll work out my way.
Yeah.
I have to get a start. If I don't get a start, I'll struggle. I'm not fast enough to come through the pack.
Hey, just remind yourself that how much you hated starts before, but you offset that by just getting a good start.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Every time I start, man, I try. My starts have sucked so bad. I literally did maybe 5 practice starts before A1 on the great, just because it's hard on the motor and all that stuff, clutches, and we don't have a bunch of money. So
now wait, here's another question. Did y'all have, were there greats?
No,
no greats, right?
No.
So so you 5 great starts ever.
Yeah.
Wow. It just this stuff just keeps registering to me. I'm like, wait, we got to go back to 2012. There were no greats.
Hey, we've got greats here, so when you hurry up and get here, we got greats to come off of too.
Perfect. Yeah, I changed my technique, the way that I was holding my clutch on the start, because my start has just sucked so bad. And normally I'm a good starter. And so for the second qualifying in Arizona, I did something different, and I think I ripped the whole shot, or I was second. And so I'm like, okay, I think I got it figured out now. And luckily, I got a couple good starts in both of the LCQ races.
Yeah, you're really.
So from now on, I should be close to up front on the start.
Well, it's at least in those LCQs. If you're not in the top five on the start, you're really taking your life into your own hands, or you're putting your life in somebody else's hands.
Yeah, I know.
It's important.
Dude, the first lap is so gnarly. Going through the rhythms and the triples and everything, it's like, please jump this jump in front of me, please jump. But so I was really scared at A1. Like, I got a bad start in the heat race, and it was just bunched up going into that finish line jump. Remember how massive that
thing was humongous.
Yeah. So I came in super hot into that corner to try to block, kind of like slow the guy down so they couldn't jump it. And I rolled it, but I feel like every single rider that's in that race are pretty good. It's not like how it used to be back in the day.
Oh, no.
So it's something that you don't have to worry about as much.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, especially at A1. Like, if they made the night show, they were good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, boys are going fast. They're making me work for it.
Hey, but you now that you've got that feeling of the main event, you just gotta keep it rolling. And your fan base has got to be growing tremendously every weekend too. Yeah,
man, I've had so much love from the fans, and I'm just excited to be able to ride during the week. I haven't been riding. I've ridden. Last weekend was my 9th time riding since A1.
That's crazy.
I haven't been able to mountain bike. I haven't been able to do anything because my body's so banged up that, I haven't been able to ride during the week. My fitness is totally gone. Obviously, I can get around the track riding 70% like I am in the mains and stuff, but my fitness is down. Just I'm looking forward to being able to put in 3 days a week of riding, showing up to the race. Another 3 days of riding before the next race,
right?
And work on my speed and technique and just put in laps. Like coming into A1, I was pretty fit, and I've lost it all of it. I was doing 50 to 100 miles a week on my mountain bike and a pedal assist, and haven't been able to touch my mountain bike or anything.
Well, you got time to do the old school way and ride yourself back into shape.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, and I figured, man, I'm having so much fun racing. Let's go try. I ride a 450 better, so let's just go try and see how it goes. Go try to, if you can put it in the night show, $1,500.
Yeah, I think you got that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Money, so.
I'm stoked.
I'd have to pick up a couple of seconds a lap for my 250 because this weekend, 45th, I believe, was a second faster than me to make it into the night show.
Yeah, but being on that 450 will be a lot of difference too.
I think it'll help you because you're not so willing to have to just send it and race through everything so hard. Like on the 250 guys, those young guys are just attacking everything. Well, I think you can flow a little better on a 450.
And some of the rhythms are a bit like some of the rhythms are a lot for a 250.
Yeah.
Whereas on a 450, it's just like a little rut and you're
right
over it.
Right.
It'll be
you just got to jump them, even though you got the power there. Dude, those rhythms this weekend were gnarly.
Oh, that one lane was so freaking long
and big, like tall.
Well, there was one where they paused when they land and then they seat bounced to the next one.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out why they were doing that, but it was, that's the one.
Because it was a 3-footer. They were going off a 3-footer and then it was 2 6-footers.
Yeah.
So they were going from a 3-footer to a 6-footer that was super peaked out and sharp.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, I couldn't figure out why they were pausing.
And that is so scary.
Yeah.
That's just to be able to get the height to down it perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not me. I'll watch it on TV. I'll watch it from my recliner and then critique them.
Yeah.
You're right. I know. You watch it on TV and I'm like, oh, dude, I can be top 5, no problem. Then you get out there. Yeah, right.
Oh, well, Billy, we really appreciate you coming on here. I know that there's a lot of people that are going to be stoked to hear this story.
Yep.
come see us. Come ride out here at Tapped House. Get on the Supercross track. Yep. Get some time in, and we look forward to seeing you at Arlington.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're in our backyard.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yep. Right yeah, I'm excited.
All right, man. Well, good luck. I mean, I'm a fan. I've been a fan for a long time, and I'm part of that Lano crew. I love watching you ride.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
I had a blast.
Yep, thanks for coming.
Yep, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, guys.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Wow. I mean, dude, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
We need another one of those with him, I think. I want to hear more about him going to Loretta's in a Suburban.
Oh, dude. I want pictures of that.
Yeah, we need that.
What? Let me, you can cut this out, right?
Dude, man, that's rad, and I hope a lot of people can understand just from that little bit of talking about the struggle and the work that he must have gone through and his family just to get to the point of being noticed at an amateur national.
Well, here's the thing that I was thinking the whole time he was talking about that. His dad made maybe $30,000.
Yeah.
That's $30,000 in California.
Yeah.
And even though it's, you go back 20 years or however long it was.
30
years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wow. But so
time flies when you're having fun.
Go back 30 years. $30,000 was never a lot of money.
No.
A year. But the difference, cost of living's still been way more out there. So, you're making $30,000, which is, you can make that working at, you probably make more than that working at Chick-fil-A now. You know what I mean? They're fast food. I bet. I think they make 40, 50 grand, right? And then now you're trying to take your kid across the country racing on that. Wow. Man, I wonder
how propane fuel mileage is.
Let's get another call.
And can you leave the car running with propane and sleep in it?
Yo.
Hey, Wes Kain.
Wes Kain.
I shoot the cowboy.
Yeah. And we just did this podcast with Billy Laninovich, and one of the things he was telling us, I know you're around for that era, is the first year he went to Loretta Lynn's,
98.
In 98, they said his dad made about $30,000 a year. They had no money. They went to Loretta Lynn's in a Suburban that ran on propane, and they slept in that Suburban all week long with no air conditioner.
Dude, I seen him pull up at the races in a pickup truck with a box tied to the back of it, and they pulled bikes out of that. A pickup truck with no pitch. Okay, picture a cab only. Cab only.
Yeah.
Right? Cab and chassis with a big box on the back. It was made out of plywood, and they pulled in the World Mini with that.
Wow. That's crazy. And he said his first year at World Mini, he got 7th.
Yeah, but the year we were out there in the B, he won everything. The year Billy was on a roll, he rolled everything. And I got a funny story. Billy one night at Whitney was in a rental car, and he was being funny, cutting the front wheel on a front wheel drive, and getting the kids, because all the kids hung out. You know where Honda Houston used to park?
Oh yeah, yeah, right there right there on the corner by the start.
Right there on the corner,
Gay Smith's corner.
And then they had to hook up the crosshair. I had my box fan backed up over there. That's where I met Brandon Fulton the first time. He was on a mini bike. He had a helmet 4 sizes too big, and he was wobbling around on his head.
Hey, he probably drove himself there.
But that's the sad thing about me meeting him. That was the same week that his dad didn't come because he had, perished in an accident. So that was,
man,
that was something you kind of don't forget because everybody, you were knowing who Brandon Fulton was at that time because of that story, and but knowing him at that time, he's just a great kid. He still is as an adult.
Love Fulton.
But the thing of it is, Billy was cutting his wheels, and all the kids were getting sprayed with mud. So Drew, my son, you know, they used to have those things, you pull the water in it, and then you squeeze it, the tube, and the water would shoot out.
Yeah, like it was like a water cannon.
Yeah. So Drew ran over to the Porta-John and said, I'll fix him, and pulled whatever he got into that thing and ran over, and Billy barely got the window up, and I think he let it go and squirted all in the rental car. But Billy dodged it. Oh yeah, that's how Billy thought he was being funny with all the kids, but the boys from Florida had a trick up their sleeve.
Hey, that's like back in the day when Rusty Huddle let the bomb off at Ponca in the people's garage. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? You remember that?
Then they all went to jail.
Yeah.
And then they ran the cops shop stickers on their bikes and helmets the next day.
Yeah.
Rusty sheriff stickers.
Hey, Rusty said his dad didn't talk to him. He won Loretta's that year. He might have won Ponca too, and he said his dad didn't talk to him from the time he got out of jail until like a week after they got back home.
Dude. Yeah. That was, you know what? It just seemed like that era, like in the late 90s, middle 90s, it's just,
it's
like
phones.
Different than it was now, because with the kids coming through, it's not like that now. They go to bed, you know, there's none of that fun kind of stuff that, you know, I don't know, just crazy, just a different time. You know?
Oh, it's totally different.
I saw it, you know, it's like I saw Andrew Short and Trey Kennard stopped in at Guthrie. We had a arena cross 2 weeks ago there, and like I said, I met Trey Kennard when we went to Ponca. We went down to the Oklahoma State Championship, and Kennard was a little chubby guy rolling around on a KX on a KX 60. It wasn't even a 65 then; it was a KX 60. You know, so same thing with Andrew Short. I mean, we went everywhere with those guys. Like, I knew their grandfather, their dad, and when they see me, they just like, hey, you're like the last guy around that remembers anything in my amateur day, you know, because I wasn't announcing it. I was a racing dad, you know, but I knew you had to go to those races if you wanted your kid to do good at Loretta Lynn. You had to get on that train of, I got to go to Ponca. I got to go to Texas for 2 weeks, whether it's Mosier Valley. And I know, Zach, you know, I tell people about Mosier Valley and they're like, what is that?
That was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for me. Mosier Valley was.
You had to go see Cerber and go to Mosier Valley, and then you had to load up and go to Lake Whitney after that, you know. And then we loaded up and went. We just stayed on the road, like me, Big Brian Johnson, and Little Brian, and Gene Stoll and everybody. And we would go all the way out in Millsaps, and then we'd go out to California and stay for a month, and then come back and catch World Mini in Vegas. And I mean, that was just how you had to do it, you know. If you wanted to be on that train of, I need to be on the amateur tour to get accolades in this racing program. You can't hit one of those events once a year and think you're going to go in there and win it. It's not going to happen, you know.
We'll talk. Sorry, my voice is going, but
go ahead.
Talking about those events. Gosh, my voice is horrible. I'm fixing to go get a drink of water, but talk about.
You know what you need, bud? You know what you need for your voice?
What?
I'll tell you what you need. You need some Root and Toot and 2-ball lotion. And when you get that, you'll be able to yodel like no other man. You'll be yodeling. I'm just telling you. All right? You can call me when we're done. I'll give you details how to get it.
I wasn't ready for that. That's
all
good.
Right, then. Oh. Hey, yo, lady, ho. All right, so now listen. Let's talk about. Hey, man, I'm trying to be serious here, man. You guys are joking. Wes Kain's trying to be serious. All right,
we're ready.
Hey, you can get that product on any street corner, you bud. Hey, so listen. Here's the deal. Pull yourself together, man. If you're in a foxhole with me and you start cutting up like that, and Charlie's coming through the wire, I'm gonna have to get a hold of you and slap you and pull you back to your senses. Pull yourself together. Pull yourself together, man. Get back in the game.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm in here. So let's talk about spring and ding ding.
Let's talk about it, man. If you don't have a mustache,
I've got one
I don't know
already.
what we're gonna do with you. I saw that.
My wife makes me shave mine.
You might have to grow it out.
You got to grow it out, dog.
Brian's got one.
She makes you shave it. She knows what she's missing.
Rootin' tootin'.
All right, listen. Here's
Wes
the
Kain after hours.
Yeah.
Listen, it's called Spring a Ding Ding, and we're gonna ding. And the ding is we're bringing the mustaches back, and mustaches are forever. Okay, and you can't come into the ding without a stash. Or if you come in the ding without a stash, you leave with a stash. All right?
You hope.
Hey, well, that's the key. I'll grow it there.
Yeah. I need you to grow your stash, and we're going to wax it. We got mustache wax, and it's going to be great. The ding is going to be a great event. I mean, it worked out for me this time because we had a round cancel of Arena Cross in Virginia. So it's like, bam, I'm in. So it's great. I leave Daytona on the 8th and 9th. We got rounds, and then I just leave the calendar. I'm like home on Sunday. I got to fly out Monday because we start on the 12th.
Supercross.
We go all the way to the 17th. And we got outdoors. I believe we got a Supercross during the week or before the week starts. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going on. We got a World Pit Bike National Championship, I believe, out there. And if you've never been to Oak Hill, there's a bar right down the road called Phillies, and I guarantee you'll have a good time.
Hey, there's now a bar at Oak Hill. I don't know if it's going to be open.
Yeah, there's a bar on the grounds.
Wow.
Hey, Oak Hill has done a lot.
The
new owners have done a whole lot there.
I mean, they got a playground. The kids are always it's like a little skate park kind of like thing, I guess.
They got a pump track.
Yeah, I mean, Oak Hill is like a little diamond in the rough. It's really amazing. It's great for viewing. You can see the whole track from right around where the announcer tower is.
Yeah, there's a few places you can go around that track and see a lot of the
racing.
racing.
Oh, yeah, you can go all the way around it and watch.
Yep.
I mean, Oak Hill's awesome.
Wes, how long has it been since you've been to Oak Hill?
I would say it's been a minute. I mean, Oak Hill, because remember, Harold started doing underground, and then I don't know what happened. I was there with Oldenburg. I mean, it's probably been when Christian Craig came through.
Yeah.
It was when I know Mario flipped the rental car, and that was a big doodle. We were there.
Mario, is he?
No, Mario from Red Bull.
Oh.
Red Bull flipped a rental car, and we were all out there, and we had to find him. His leg fell off. And then what happened was he borrowed the car. We were all up at Frilly, and they were having freestyle there, and Mike Jones was with us, and a couple others. And next thing you know, they called up. Well, there was a scuffle going on in the bar, and something happened. We all had to leave there. Mario said he wrecked the car. And we got there, and there wasn't a window in it. It was upside down in about a foot of water. We couldn't find Mario. Mario said he crawled out the windshield, and then we couldn't find his leg. So, because Mario only has one leg. So then we found his leg. We got him in there. We all went to bed. Well, the car stayed there. We didn't say nothing. And the next day, people coming in the track were hollering and screaming that there was a crash and somebody could be dead in there. So, yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big deal.
It was Mario.
Anyway,
he was safe.
Listen, I love you guys. We're going there to the ding. Get signed up. March, be there. The 11th, get there. The 12th through the 17th, Motor Playground. We're all going to be there, man, and grow a mustache.
Yep. Done deal. Love you, brother. Wes Kain's out.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Well, that'd be another episode. And hey, all I gotta say is we're back.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back on the microphone.
Don't call it a comeback. I'll have a voice next time, hopefully. Unless we do one tomorrow. If we do one tomorrow, I probably won't have a voice. So, yeah.
Zach will be yodeling till the next one. He'll be ready to go.
All right. We're out. Peace.
Closing time, open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time, turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl. Closing time, one last call for alcohol, so finish your whiskey or beer. Closing time, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay.